Okay. Now you can stand there, but I won't look at you because you just make me laugh. You always make me laugh. My journey started many years ago, and I won't give my age away. I started as a graphic designer and doing page layout in magazines, illustrations, and I did that for 15 years. And during that time, I started doing wildlife paintings because I have a love for animals. And then after about 15 years, I started feeling that I needed to explore something else, a little bit more challenging for me. So I decided to go for sculpting, which I felt was far more challenging. You have to understand the animal's anatomy and how it works, and paintings are flat, drawings are flat. So your knowledge of anatomy is not of that so much importance. So this is my passion. I think the cats are very popular. I mean, I enjoy doing cats anyway. I don't even have to do sketches. I just start with a little armature and do a little maquette, and I just start building it and moving it around as I want to. And it just flows. The popular animal is, of course, the leopard and cheetah. The cheetah is the most because it's elegant, but of course I like lion, and the lion is far more challenging, far more. Because actually my wife said to me, I did a drawing of a charcoal of a lion's, and she said, please do a sculpture of that. Well, and I thought, well, that's fine, I'll do a small one, which I did. And then I asked the guys at 3D to enlarge it for me to life size, and I didn't have space in my studio for this monstrous beasts that were in and that's the other thing, I had to bring out that feeling. It's amazing. It was one of the most amazing projects I've done because I had to make it look different to everybody else's, make them look wild, powerful. It's easy to paint a lion, but to actually sculpt a lion, when you realize how big they are, the size becomes quite daunting. Yeah, to get that through, of the wildness and the almost regal appearance of the animal, yeah, that's challenging. For example, if you look at the mane of the lion and its beard, it's blowing in the wind. So it's not just a lion with mane flying all over. This one is the actual wind is blowing the mane over, and that gives it already that feeling of they're in a hunting situation. So it's the detail in the eyes. It's very easy to do a painting which looks like it's real, but when you're only working with one color, you actually got to get that expression just from the metal, the bronze, which you can't do with paintings. I mean, you see what you get, and that's what you get. So, and that's challenging, but I enjoyed it, yeah. This is the size of the miniature sculpture, which is a combination of bongo clay and a casting wax. And that is what I present to Liam at the 3D, who scans this and produces that. And of course, the cutters don't give you every detail that you want, and they're normally oversized. So I have to cut away most of the stuff, like for example on the leg there's places where the feet are part of the branch, and I've got to actually bring out the feet. But it gives me the proportions, which is very important, because otherwise, in the olden days, we used to do armatures, steel armatures inside here. The things were very heavy and difficult to handle. With this process, taking it from that small sculpture up to here, the sculpture itself is light, easy to maneuver and use, and I can cut away, play with it, and then apply my layer of clay on top and put my texture on. Once I put the clay on and it's ready, because I work in sections, I work on this side first, then the other side, and then on its tummy. But once it's been done, it gets couriered to the foundry and it goes into mold making.
So I'm Warren Knight, one of the directors of Sculpture Casting Services. We cast bronze sculptures for the artists. We don't claim to be artists ourselves. We work specifically for the industry. Alan Ainslie is one of our main clients. He brings his art pieces to us and we transform them back into bronze. We never take away from the artists. The artists are the artists and they highly respect it, especially in Alan's case. So we want to make the artist's life easier. He can be more productive in what he's good at. And then we do the transformation. We change his originals into bronze masterpieces that will last forever.
And sometimes they advise the art. They say to the artist, that looks like a dog and it's supposed to look like a cheetah. You remember how you advised me there? No, I remember that. Now don't put that on.
Looks like a dog.
So this is a typical silicon rubber mold of one of the pieces. So this rubber mold is keyed into the resin jacket. The way it's made is to do that. So the resin jacket holds this rubber very rigid. That you can see is the inside of a cheetah's face. That's the negative. So that detail, once they paint a wax into it, will give you a wax positive of that detail. This is ceramic coated over this wax. So this form is still in wax, but now it's got a ceramic coating picking up all that detail. Ultimately, we'll dip this whole structure into boiling water. The wax gets melted away, replaced with bronze. Here's an Alan Ainslie cheetah, one that's been cast already. So they now will start breaking off the ceramic shell. There you can see the bronze cheetah's face starting to come out. So all this wire has got to be cut off. So this has been, they've cut off all the excessive gating. And as you can see, once again, the thickness that the wax used to be is now the thickness that the bronze piece is. So they will take these pieces, the windows, and they'll put them back in, and they will weld that closed and repair and put all the detail back onto this original sculpture the way Alan had originally purposed it to be. This is the patination process. So patination is a case of oxidizing chemicals onto the bronze. They do that with diluted chemicals, and they apply heat and oxidize and burn the water off, leaving you the chemical reaction between the chemical and the bronze. So it's not like paint where you're putting a layer on, you're actually changing the molecular structure of the bronze, which is 95% copper. So the copper is very reactive to its environment. And so in this case, they oxidize chemicals and they can manipulate chemicals and heat to give you various colors. So these are finished bronzes. They've been waxed. The patinas are finished. There's multiple layers. This is probably about a 4 or 5 layered patina. So it's got all the colors, and then they've done a black wax and they've rubbed that wax back through to pull all those colors back through so it gives you a lot of translucency, it gives you depth to the bronze. This patina is actually particularly specific to Alan. It's called Alan Brown. It's got a name for this patina. So these are the bronzes. These are going to Irindi. They're beautiful. They're ready. They're done, waxed, ready to handle the weather and everything.